Professor Ramneek, we're currently seeing another increase in positive COVID cases in South Africa, despite experts saying the majority of the population is either immune through previous infection or vaccination. Is this attributed to the new Omicron subvariants BA.4 and BA.5 or sister variants?
It's a very good question. Usually what we've seen from the COVID-19, since COVID-19 came, we saw a wave being driven by a variant in particular, which means what the virus is trying to do is the virus is trying to mutate into three forms and three things that we need to look into. One is it tries to become more transmissible all the time. And that's the only way, if it becomes more transmissible, it can displace the old variant out and it can be the dominant variant. That's how a new variant comes into existence. The second thing is it tries to change its virulence or clinical patterns, which means in every new wave or every new variant, we see a difference in symptoms in people, clinical symptoms. There was a time when we saw respiratory challenges to a time when it became a more upper respiratory, to a time where we're seeing more different kind of clinical patterns we're seeing. The third big issue that we're seeing is what we call it as evading immune system. And you are right when you said 80% of South Africans, or globally, we anticipate 70% of the people have had COVID during the first, second, third, or any other wave. And in South Africa, the fourth wave, which means the people have something called natural immunity, which means they have built an immune system. But what this virus does is it tries to hide in the human body, mutate to a level that it recognizes to remain, to change its shape, to change its spike proteins, to change its color in such a way that when it enters our human body, our immune system does not recognize it. It means it remains invisible, which means our first line, second line cannot see it while it enjoys binding to human cell, increasing to viral load. And that's why we're seeing so many breakthrough infections. So currently, the situation is that surprisingly, even a subvariant, which means the variant of Omicron itself mutated. It's a common normal viral evolution. Any variant. So remember the original COVID, the Alpha, the Beta, the Delta, the Omicron, they're all in the air and they're all mutating. They're all producing their offsprings. And Omicron is also producing, but Omicron being now the dominant one, while it's mutating itself, produced itself a sublineage or a subvariant called the BA.4, BA.5, which started showing all the three properties that I spoke. It started becoming more transmissible, it started showing different clinical patterns, and equally, it started evading immune system, which means it had the power, like a variant, to displace its original Omicron or the BA.1 or BA.2 that was in existence in South Africa. So what we are now seeing is that even a subvariant, the first time we've seen in the COVID history in the 2 years, which is a very surprising factor, that even a subvariant has the power to replace its own father variant rather than adapting into an absolutely new variant that we would have anticipated eventually to displace Omicron. So currently, the wave seems to be BA.4, BA.5, showing all the three properties like it is established itself into a new variant, but it's actually Omicron, and it's a form of Omicron which has actually shown a far more transmissible change in clinical patterns, including evading. And that's why you're seeing lots of South Africans getting mild and moderate infections, because what is happening is evading the immune system and it's causing breakthrough infections. The good sign is no panic because it's still Omicron. The virulence seems to be low. Healthcare system is not submerged into it. Very few deaths so far. Still early days, but what the clinical patterns have shown, people are recovering very well at home through, but it is still evading and still causing breakthrough infections.